Good evening, I'm Dan Wolf. Laura has the night off. Thanks for joining us. After a tumultuous year of budget problems and course cuts, Northland College leaders announced this afternoon that the school will close for good. Northern News Now's Jeffrey McClure spent the evening on the Ashland campus getting reaction from some very disappointed students and staff.
A snowy Ashland day turned dreary in a hurry.
There was really no warning, not a lot of information given to us prior to the news, but right away it was definitely a big hit to the chest.
Nolan Hemish was in his final year at Northland and, like everyone else, was shocked to learn the news.
Kind of hurt, had to go to class right after I found out the news, so it was definitely a dreadful day in class.
It is a very, very unique institution.
Former professor and now District 73 state rep Angela Stroud was as shocked as everyone else.
It did not deserve to be treated so poorly by mismanagement, and it's just devastating.
Stroud spent 13 years at Northland. More than a decade ago, she remembers a school leader worrying about a looming demographic cliff, and the low enrollment was coming. But she says those conversations were never revisited.
We definitely knew this was coming. And yet, despite having that initial conversation in 2012, I don't recall us ever talking about it again.
Now, what Stroud called a gem will soon be gone, along with its students.
We have to figure out what comes next for this campus, what comes next in this place, because what was already difficult in terms of attracting and retaining people to work in our jobs just became much, much harder.
133 years in the Northland, not even staffing and program cuts could save the school, which tugged at Stroud's emotions.
The roots run very deep. The connections are extremely deep. The impact is enormous. I have colleagues who dedicated their whole lives to this place. And, you know, that's really profound work. And students who were transformed.
The end of an educational era, ushering a new era of uncertainty for this city. In Ashland, Jeffrey McClure, Northern News Now.
The school will close at the end of the school year. President Chad Dayton announced his resignation today. Barb Lundberg is serving as interim president. The Board of Trustees declined an interview today, and at this time, the next steps forward are unknown.